What's up, NBA fan? What's up, all sports fan? This is JB, right here, host of the Behind the Bench Podcast Network and channel. Just want to give a shout out to the rest of the crew. I'm talking about Shaq, Kelvin, and Jermaine, for everyone who's tuning in. I hope that you support Behind the Bench, become a subscriber, and help make the show the best that it can be. Now check this out, man. You know, when you start talking about great moments of the NBA, great teams, great tandems, you know, really, outside of Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, when you start talking about great tandems, which now, you know, the puns are trying to convince you that Michael Jordan was Scottie Pippen and that Scottie Pippen was Michael Jordan. 25 years after the fact, when it was never an issue as to who was the number one guy and who was the number two guy. But now they trying to distort history, man, for agenda's sake, but in the end it won't work. But what's funny is these two cats right here, man, you know, who won 3 championships together, back to back. The late Kobe Bean Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, you know, even when they were winning, they were trying to paint this picture that, you know, Shaq was the driving force. You know, he carried Kobe. Kobe was riding coattails. He was second banana. He was a Robin. But if you really go back and study their dynamic, and when they started to win championships, I remember Kobe was brought to the NBA right out of high school at 18 years old. And it wasn't a thing where they teamed up. And they had to go through the battles and wars together, man, before they start winning. You know, now they was making, you know, playoff runs, but, you know, either the Utah Jazz and San Antonio Spurs were getting the best of them, man. But they had to go through that. So by the time, you know, the year 2000 hit, well, really the key to the beginning of the run was Kobe Bean Bryant emerging as a full-fledged superstar, the Kobe Bryant that we came to know, you know, over the past, 15 years or so. That's when they took off. But they'll try to tell you that, you know, Shaq was always the man because of his dominant performances in the finals. And don't get me wrong, Shaq was the most dominant player in the NBA for those 3 years. There's no questions about it. He's the most dominant player. But as everybody know who watched the NBA during the 2000s, the real NBA Finals was the Western Conference Finals, when the Lakers went up against the 59-23 Portland Trailblazers, who had the most talented roster in the league. Then in 2001, they went up against, I believe, the 58-win San Antonio Spurs, who many analysts or critics predicted would win the championship. This is a prime Tim Duncan. You still had David Robinson out there, Sean Elliott. You know, Sean Elliott was no joke coming into the league. Like two-time All-American. You know, that Spurs team was a hell of a squad. And then, of course, 2002, the 61-win Sacramento Kings. And that was the greatest playoff series since the year 2000. Greatest playoff series you ever gonna see since year 2000 was the Lakers and Kings. They went the full 7 games, and it got to the point, man, where really, when you look at it, Kobe and Shaq and Kobe, however you want to say it, they was 1 and 1A. They were equal. Now I will say, the 2000 championship, Kobe was like 22 years old, and he started to take his game to another level, averaging like 22.5 points a game. Shaq was the MVP that year, averaging like 28, I think like 28.7, 28.8, and he was the driver. He was like, let me put it this way, he was how can I say this? He was the guy But you can't really say he was the man, because through the playoff run, Kobe Bryant became the Lakers' facilitator, closer, and best defender at the age of 22. And remember that Game 7 versus Portland, after the Los Angeles Lakers went up 3-1 in that series, and then Portland fought back to tie the series. Well, going into that fourth quarter, Portland was up by 15. And Shaq had like 18 points, 9 rebounds. With Kobe, he sealed the deal. 25 points, 11 rebounds as a 22-year-old going up against Scottie Pippen, Rasheed Wallace, Arvydas Sabonis, Steve Smith, Amari Stoudemire. That Portland team was a beast. And Kobe delivered, man, as a 22-year-old. So by the time the actual finals took place, well, Shaq had the definitive advantage at the center spot. That's why they went to him. And it's not taken away from Shaq because he was the MVP. You know what I'm saying? He helped he and Kobe helped drive the Lakers to that three-peat. And it's not taking anything away from Shaq, but it wasn't a situation where Kobe was second banana. Because remember Game 4 of the 2000 NBA Final versus the Indiana Pacers, who was a hell of a squad in their own right. Reggie Miller, Austin Crozier, Sam Perkins, the Davis boys, Antonio Davis, and Antonio Davis, and the other Davis. And I know I just can't think of his name right now. And then you had, I mentioned Reggie Miller, of course, and you know, Indiana Pacers, man, they was a hell of, and Larry Bird was coaching the team. You know what I'm saying? And in that Game 4, when Shaq fouled out and went to overtime, Kobe closed the game out and sealed the deal, and the Lakers went up 3-1 and won that series in 6 games. And that was the beginning of, you know, a dynastic run between Kobe and Shaq. So, you know, at the end of the day, man, you know, when they try to paint a picture a certain way, the history is always going to reveal the truth actually when it went down. And then it carried over to the next year in 2001 with Kobe Bryant. Man, he played on a level that only one player you can say was equal to what Kobe was doing in that playoff. That's none other than Michael Jordan. Because when they went against the Spurs in 2001, as Shaq told the world, he said Kobe Bryant is the best player. This was his words. Kobe the best player in the world. And when you playing with the best player in the world, it makes your job easier. So even Shaq knew it was up by then. You know, like I said, man, Shaq, man, he one of the all-time greatest players, man. One of the all-time greatest centers. At the end of the day, it is what it is, man. And I don't think Kobe gets enough credit because he won additional 2 championships in his career and could have won more, you know, if certain things didn't happen. And that's a whole nother story. But they had some tremendous victories together, man. And it should never be forgotten, man. And they will always be linked in basketball lore. But not as Batman and Robin, but really as equals at the end of the day. Because during the Western Conference playoff, Kobe Bryant showed you his importance to the team, and then, you know, and in the finals, man, Shaq delivered. He dominated. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But Kobe proved, and it was unfortunate that, you know, Shaq went elsewhere. That was unfortunate, but Kobe proved years later that his success wasn't predicated on playing with Shaquille O'Neal. And that elevated Kobe's stature in his game, man. You know, it doesn't take anything away from Shaquille O'Neal, man, because he was that guy. But, yeah, man, at the end of the day, that's how I look at it, man. You know, however somebody want to view it, Shaq or Kobe, Kobe and Shaq, they won together. Or, as Shaq said, we were the greatest big man, little man tandem in the history of the NBA. So I just want to drop that, man. You know, great memories. And until next time, this is JB for BTB Behind the Bench.